Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Saturday, the 3rd of April. Hopefully, everybody had themselves a wonderful Friday night. Whether you played some DFS, whether you just watched sports, took your girl out, whatever you did, hope it was lovely and hope you had a great time doing it.
Yeah, excited to get back at it at the grind today. We got a couple slates to break down. Let's get it.
We're here for the night slate. Dropped NBA info already. On Saturdays, unless we announce it, at least for like paying customers, we're not going to cover like the day slates on Saturday. Like there's just two of us. Matt doesn't have much of a life, and neither do I, but occasionally I have my kids and stuff. And every once in a while, you want to throw your old lady a few minutes of your precious time or curse her with it, however you want to look at it. She gets stuck hanging out with you for a little bit. So on Saturdays, we'll usually cover the night stuff just so we get a better opportunity to talk about it, research it, and get it out to you guys.
Yes, sir. I am pumped to break this one down with you.
Yes, sir. So am I. I'm looking forward to this one. Before we get into it, though, you guys know we talk about our boys over at Drafters a lot. I was talking to Zach, their CEO, yesterday, and he wanted to make sure that I tell everybody about this. They have potential for a monster overlay contest. They got these $5.55 Drafters Early NFL Best Ball Championship, $30,000 in prizes. And he says the way it's shaping out right now, there's going to be massive overlay in it. So I would highly encourage some of you guys to get in there. You draft with 10 other people. It's for the entire season. Throw, your $6 in there or whatever. Go after some big money. And it's going to set up where a lot of people win probably with huge overlay in it.
Mm-hmm. No doubt about it.
I know that's like, I don't do that. I don't know if you ever do, but I know that there are people who search for the overlay out there in some of the sites. And it's a great way to be profitable.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to find nowadays, but I don't mind that strategy whatsoever.
All right, man. So first things first, let's take a look at the pitchers for today. So first things that we'll just get into, Corbin Burns is a great play. It's a great strikeout pitcher and is going to be insane chalk today. You want to leverage the field? Hope he gets hit. I like him, and if you're playing a cash game, I think you start right here, but he is projected to be overwhelming chalk today.
Yeah, he is. And it makes a lot of sense, man. He's way too cheap, but he's really good.
Yeah, he is. As a Brewers fan, as you can see by the hat here, guys, he's got elite strikeout stuff. I'm talking like, think of the best strikeout pitchers in the game. Like I'm not saying he's as good as they are, but his strikeout stuff, he's not really, I don't know, there aren't people who are a lot better at striking guys out than him. Now, they're better pitchers, but, DraftKings rewards a strikeout big time.
For sure, no doubt about it.
Do you have any interest? Well, I know you love fading chalk. What are your thoughts on him as a guy who loves to fade high-owned guys?
I mean, with pitchers, like if I like a pitcher, I'm going to use them even if they're high-owned.
Be different in the offense.
I happen to like Burns here, so I think he looks really good.
Chalk build, Corbin Burns and playing the Dodgers.
Yeah.
It makes the most sense on paper. There's no surprise that's where everybody's going to go. And if you're playing cash games, that's how you start. It's tougher to get away with. I don't have anybody else I really dig on today. So it's a lot like last night where I rode chalk pitching, played a bunch of the Dodgers. My only screw up was not playing the catcher from Chicago who kind of ruined the slate.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt about it. Same.
Okay. If you were making one lineup today, who would be your SP2 to pair with Corbin Burns, or potentially SP1 if you played Burns as the SP2?
I think that's a really good question. Musgrove as of right now, I think.
Okay. So the three pitchers coming in with the most love are Walker Buehler, Musgrove, and Corbin Burns. And I know something you just kind of mentioned for people maybe new to MLB DFS. Matt loves to fade chalk, but if you like popular pitchers, you're just going to play them. And I have no arguments with that. I do the same thing.
For sure. Pitching is different than hitting. It's much more predictable.
Okay. Who to you from the pitchers on this slate you just have absolutely no interest in? I'm going to start with one, John Gray. I don't think he's good enough to beat the Dodgers, so the Dodgers are playing good baseball right now. I couldn't get here in a million years.
I won't get there either. Alex Cobb, probably the same boat.
Okay. Anything with Flexen?
No. I mean, okay. I wouldn't use him probably, but I don't think he's like a cross-off against San Francisco here.
If I was trying to get super lucky down low, I would probably go with Caleb Smith, but that's not something that I plan to do.
For sure.
Okay. We saw Smith with the Marlins a couple years ago pitch well. I believe he didn't throw too many innings last year. Yeah, he was out there sparingly. So He's got decent strikeout stuff, and San Diego, outside of Eric Hosmer, has not done a ton to impress me early in the season. So if I was trying to get lucky, I think I'd go with Caleb Smith. But man, you got to grab your nose and hope on this one.
For sure.
So chalk build: Buehler, Musgrave, Corbin Burns, with Burns being overwhelming chalk. Anything specific you like about Musgrove today?
I think he's probably, slate considered too cheap at 8,600 in a good spot against Arizona. I don't think any pitcher on the slate is a lock. But I'm a Musgrove fan. Now he's back home in San Diego. Good pitcher's park. It's just more of a gut feel than anything else, I think.
Yeah, I don't have much. We used to be Berrios fans, but as far as the DFS game goes, he stopped pitching to strike guys out. And even though Milwaukee's prone to the strikeouts, he's just, I guess he got a little better as the season progressed. He's just not a major K guy.
He did get better as the season progressed, and Milwaukee does strike out. So, I don't think it's crazy on this slate, but I mean, again, I'm talking about Joe Musgrove. I don't think Berrios is crazy at 200 more. I don't.
Or Walker Buehler, who's the best pitcher on the slate for not much more. It's still in Coors. The Rockies got rolling late last night. That was a weird game. To go from a no-no to the Rockies hitting like 4 home runs in an inning or whatever it was, it don't happen too often.
No doubt about it.
So I have some interest in Walker Buehler, who's just more talented. Now, here's my last question for you in pitching. Lance Lynn's coming in with real low ownership, and he has cut up the majority of the Angels lineup. Not like with massive track record, but most of these guys have double-digit at-bats against him, and he has real good numbers against this lineup. I know he's a horse, too, and early in the season, if there's one guy on here I could picture going 100 pitches, it would be Lance Lynn.
Not going to lie, I feel the same exact way. When I first popped open the slate, he was a guy that definitely stuck out to me.
Okay, so he's in the price range between Corbin Burns and Walker Buehler. And of all the guys on this slate, he's coming in with real low double-digit ownership projections. He is a horse. I mean, how many pitches did this guy average throwing last year in a start? Like 400? I think he legitimately throw extra pitches just because he could.
No, seriously. Yeah. He threw the most pitches in baseball last year, most innings. I don't know. I like him quite a bit, to be honest.
Okay. And again, this isn't a major sample size, but Pujols is 1 of 11 off of him. Fletcher 2 of 10. Rendon 2 of 12. Justin Upton 1 of 13 with 7 Ks. Like, that almost seems like you get a free 2 or 3 strikeouts right there. Mike Trout 6 of 26, 2 home runs. I mean, that's Mike Trout standards. That's pretty poor, actually.
For sure.
The only guy who's done well against him is Dexter Fowler. And at this point of his career, I fear Dexter Fowler's 0.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Okay, so when I run my 3-entry max tonight from a GPP perspective, I will have a Lance Lynn appearance. I don't feel great about it. I don't think this is the play of the year or anything like that, but I do like him as coming in as one of the low-roam pitchers with as much upside. I mean, just look at the fact that he averaged more points last year than Walker Buehler, Berrios, Musgrove, any of these guys.
Man, it is difficult to get to Musgrove, like basically the same price point. Lynn has much bigger upside in my eyes.
Right? Okay, so I like that. That's the idea that's the kind of baseball, like lower-owned play I'm definitely on board with.
Yeah, same. I like that call. I'm glad you brought it up because I was definitely looking at him when I first popped open the slate.
Okay, well, sounds like we're in pretty good agreement on this one. So as far as the chalk build, guys, like, again, it's going to be as many Dodgers as you can get into your lineup. For my favorite one for the day is Cody Bellinger, who has absolutely tormented John Gray throughout his career. Absolute and complete and utter ownership. He's also really good.
Yeah, I mean, they're all in play, like you mentioned. They were all good yesterday, like literally every single one of them.
Yes, they were. Even the guys, like, if you just go take a look at, it was kind of,
I think they all had double digits.
It just puts even more fear when you look into the Dodgers, know that they beat down the Rockies multiple days in a row without hitting home runs either. And just know that they're very, very capable of hitting a bunch of home runs too.
For sure.
All right, you back?
Yeah, I'm back.
Yeah, we cut out for a second. I was saying, like, the Dodgers have put up a ton of runs the first 2 days without hitting home runs, and they're really good at hitting home runs, so that's scary.
For sure.
So any specific favorites or just as many as you can get?
I mean, just as many as you can get. I don't like him as much as I did last night. I think Gray's significantly better than Senzatella.
Okay. Lux will probably be very popular at 4K. They're a little cheaper today.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the whole lineup's in play. I don't really have like a favorite. Yesterday they were like a priority for me. Today, I mean, they're in the best spot on paper, but I do think that there are alternate places to go.
Okay. Specifically, you have anywhere you really like?
Yeah, I like the White Sox. I think Alex Cobb is pretty shitty. White Sox obviously got going last night. They're good. They're not going to come in with nearly the ownership they should. I mean, I think they're definitely in play here.
All right. So this Yerman Mercedes guy, he was kind of a slate ruiner last night. 5 for 5, 4 RBIs. What do you know about him? Because he's not a guy I'm familiar with.
He's been in the majors for. I'm not overly familiar with him either.
Okay.
I mean, he's 28, so he's like not young. Yeah, I mean, personally, I used Camposano over him yesterday, and if Camposano made the lineup again today, I'd use him again today over him, unless I were stacking the White Sox.
So I think this is a good example. Assuming he's in the lineup today, which after you go 5 for 5, I think is a pretty good assumption. Not guaranteed, but it's a good assumption. You assume he'll be big chalk again today.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Okay, I say you play him in cash games, but it makes for a real nice fade in GPPs. This is not Mike Trout, right? Like he had a nice day. Does not mean he's going to have a big day today.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm not using him as a one-off. I think that's silly. Use him in a stack. I like Camposano more, who's the same price.
Gotcha. As far as the other White Sox, Abreu had a nice game. The one guy that I would struggle to play right now is Moncada, only because watching a couple of his at-bats last night as he went 0 for 5 with 5 Ks, he don't look right yet. So it doesn't mean he can't turn it around today. I would just struggle personally to roster him at 5K myself.
Yeah, he's another one. If I'm stacking him, I want him. If I'm not using him as a one-off. He sucks against lefties, so last night I had no interest in him. Much, much, much better spot for him today. Like, can't even emphasize that too much there. And then if Andrew Vaughn is in the lineup again, who's their first-round pick, I think 2 years ago, monster power guy in college, he's 2,100. He hit 5th last night, I think. I think he can go right back there.
Yeah, and then Adam Eaton's had a nice start to the season at 3,500. He's the kind of guy that I don't mind one-offing because he's cheap. He fits. You don't necessarily need to stack the White Sox to get there. He's a decent baseball player. It's more just like he's in the mid-3s and he fits in my outfield. If like I'm trying to get a whole bunch of Dodgers in there, I need some cheaper guys.
No doubt, no doubt.
So doesn't mean I don't prefer Luis Robert, Tim Anderson, or Jose Abreu. They're just substantially more expensive.
Great.
All right, as far as like the Milwaukee Brewers go, matching up with Jose Barrios today, I don't know. There's nothing here I'm overly intrigued by. I don't hate Colton Wong leading off at 3,800. That's a fair price point. I was encouraged by Travis Shaw's at-bats, but as much as I don't love Barrios from a DFS perspective, I'm not really looking to play the Brewers against here. If you wanted to use a Yelich at 5,400, of course, he's always in play, but mostly just to ignore this one.
Yeah, I mean, I'm more interested in Barrios than the Brewers' bats, but mostly just ignoring it.
Yeah, like I said, Colton Wong would be the one guy I could get on board with because he leads off and he's affordable.
Sure. Never mind that at all.
All right, so Minnesota's offense is good. And I know everybody's using Burns today, so all of these guys should come in with very low ownership.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely the ultimate leverage stack on a small slate. Like, I mean, baseball is just funky. Like, it's the ultimate, like, tell yourself a story. Like, I feel like just all the time. Because there's so many ways, like, even if Burns is good for Minnesota's offense, like, still to be good. That's not, like, the likeliest outcome. But, like, yeah, they are good. They're one of the better offenses on the slate.
Look at the Rockies last night, who were being no-hit through 6 innings and then hit multiple home runs late.
Like, that's not the likely outcome. But you have to think about stuff like that on these small slates. I think that just – you have to think outside the box.
I can see it. Now, they're probably going to be without Donaldson today, which does weaken their lineup.
Sure. I mean, all of a sudden, no Cruz, no Donaldson, Rosario's on the Indians. That's like 3 of their better hitters from last year.
You could get like a Jake Cave in the outfield at 2,300 if you're needing to pay down. Buxton is a monster upside player. He hit a huge home run in the opener. Uh, it's an interesting theory. It's probably not where I'm going to land, though.
Same.
All right. As far as the Rockies going, matching up with Walker Buehler, if I were to play anybody from the Rockies today, it would be probably a lower-owned Charlie Blackmon. He's always hit Walker Buehler really well. Hit himself a home run last night. And even though he's not what he was 5 years ago, he's still a decent hitter.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I can't see using any Rockies here. They'll probably be even less owned than Minnesota.
Yeah. I don't hate like a Hilliard if he happened to make the lineup. He had a big home run last night. He's 2,400, but you're right. I'm not trying to pick on Walker Buehler.
Yeah, he's so good. Tough. I definitely get like that Hilliard call. Anyone who's got power upside at 2,400, surely.
Exactly. Anybody from Arizona, like even though you're interested in Musgrove, I know you don't love Musgrove.
No, and I'll say this, like you talk about Musgrove's getting as much like a lot of love with Burns and Buehler. Like, I mean, I'm trying to pick on Musgrove before either of those guys. Ketel Marte is red hot to start the year.
Yeah, back-to-back games with the Jack. Ketel Marte, second base and outfield eligibility. He'd be the guy that I'm most interested in. I do care early in the baseball season how guys start the year. Some guys are slow starters, some guys are fast starters. Ketel Marte, after an off season, appears to start the season red hot. And even though he's a lot more expensive than he was opening day, he's still sub 4K.
For sure.
So he'd be the guy I'd be the most interested in. Other than that, their lineup doesn't have a lot of pizzazz to it.
No, it doesn't. It is a better spot for them than it was last night against a lefty. You know, guys like Peralta and stuff will be in the lineup. But, no, their lineup's pretty unspectacular right now.
And as much as Musgrove's a decent pitcher, he's not Blake Snell.
No, not even close.
All right, so Tommy Pham, I know if my memory serves me correctly, he didn't do much again yesterday. But he is leading off against a lefty. He's always raked against lefty. He has power and speed. He's another guy. He still makes sense today, even though it's been a little slow start to the season.
I think the Padres are definitely in play here as like an alternate stack from the Dodgers. They'll get love, but not as much as LA.
All right, Pham did squeeze out a hit later in the game.
This lineup is just so good. I mean, it is.
No arguments here. I think Eric Hosmer makes an intriguing play today. He's also started the season hot and should get no love lefty on lefty.
I mentioned him yesterday. I agree. I like him a lot, especially if you're stacking the San Diego Padres here.
Do you think Cronenworth makes the lineup today?
I do. He made it on opening day. He was good. He's good. Like, he's just good.
Yeah, he's got a 1,200 slugging percentage to start the year. It's only 2 games, but his at-bats, from what I've watched, have looked solid to start the year. So at 3,400, he's another one. I can understand playing a lower-owned version of him. I'm not going to prioritize Tatis Jr. today, but we all know how good he is.
Yeah, I mean, I could definitely see prioritizing the Padres here. You asked earlier who my other stacks were that I liked, and the Padres are one of them. And then, again, I'll mention him again, Campusano, who's like the bare minimum. I mean, this guy is good. He's a legit power prospect. He walked and got a single in his last 2 at-bats last night. Like, if he makes the lineup, yes, please. It just makes me like the stack that much more.
And after the kid from the White Sox ruined the slate yesterday, he should get more love at the same price.
Yes, I will say, though, like, he was also popular yesterday, Campusano. Like, he was like 20% for me. So he wasn't like chalk, but like it wasn't like under the radar. I do expect that to go down today.
Yeah, also, just because DraftKings doesn't have the game logs up yet this year, I don't know, everybody's going to know about unless you played the kid from the White Sox, you probably didn't realize he had 30 points or whatever.
It's so annoying.
Yeah, they do it every year, and every year we say it's annoying, and next year we'll say it again.
Yeah, you're probably right on that one.
As far as the Angels go, I already told you I got a little love for Lance Lynn today. The one guy that I could maybe get on board with would be like a Jared Walsh, who's going to make the lineup today after sitting out the first 2. For him, it's just like this has got to be a big spot, right? We know Lynn gives up power to lefties. And as a guy who was trying to be an everyday player, I'm sure he's going to be motivated by his start today.
I agree. Walsh and Ohtani were the 2 guys I was looking at, both first base outfield. Ohtani homered in his last at-bat last night.
Very affordable for what he offers.
Yeah, and again, you talk about lefty power versus Lynn. That's why Lynn's in a good spot here. Most of these guys are righty power. So the more I think about it, the more I like Lynn. But I like Ohtani too, because I'm a huge Ohtani fan. I think he's really good. So, he's like you said, he's affordable for what he offers. He's far from a must, but I mean, anyone that's on a lineup I'm not really interested overall is never going to be a must. But I do like him here.
All right, so we got Logan Webb.
This game is a big wild card for me.
Yeah, I want to do this too. Let me go back because they don't pop open and they don't tell you how guys are playing. Let's take a look at last night's box score. And I'll say it again. Buster Posey, seconds, and Longoria. This team is popped open the time machine, and all these old guys are hitting homers. You can get Buster Posey, 3,600. Even though I'm hard on him, I mean, that's a very affordable price tag for, a catcher of at least of his pedigree and stature. And Longoria, same thing, 3,900.
Yeah, their lineup will probably be a little different today. You'll see Dickerson probably leading off, Belt in there. I mean, the Giants aren't an awful look today.
No, especially this is what you could just be a little different. You can play a bunch of Dodgers and then start with a lower dollar portion of their stack. Other than Yaz, they're not very expensive.
Agreed.
So you won't see Darren Ruff today, more than likely. And I'm not a big Brandon Crawford fan, but there's nobody on their team outside of Yaz that you have to set as a priority. Even Belt, who's an underrated professional baseball player, is 4,200.
He's another guy I've always been a fan of. And I'll tell you who might be, I don't want to say a lock here, but I think you might even agree with this. You'll play him in cash games. Assuming he's leading off, he hasn't made the lineup the past 2 days. Their quote-unquote big free agent signing, Tommy La Stella, second base.
Yeah, big free agent signing. Leading off 3,300. Works for me.
I was definitely kidding with the big free agent signing, but he was their big free agent signing. He got paid.
So I want to tell you about a real funny story then. So watching the Brewers opening day, they were interviewing the GM and they were talking about how Milwaukee is now.
I heard this too. I heard it too. Jeff Suppan.
Yeah, and I was like,
God, what is he talking about?
I was like, man, I feel like you got fleeced there and you overpaid a guy based on one good playoff run, which was great. He really helped the Cardinals that year in the World Series and everything like that. But there's a reason that it was desirable. It was kind of oh my God, I can't think of his name from the Dallas Cowboys, who picked off Neil O'Donnell twice in the Super Bowl. But both throws were just overthrows that went right to him that I don't know, anybody could have caught. And then he got this huge contract off of it. And he actually went on the show Married with Children on a cameo 2 years later. And Al Bundy says to him, he goes, in the show, he's like, yeah, getting overpaid. He goes, hey, you know that, and I know that, but the Dallas Cowboys didn't know that.
That's hilarious. God, I love that show Married with Children too. I couldn't believe that. That was the Bucks principal owner saying that. Things started to change when they were able to sign Jeff Suppan.
I like Colton Wong as a player, but they started talking about Colton Wong like he was Mike Trout. I'm like, what are you? He's a nice ad for a team that can use some defense and a leadoff guy, but let's not put them in the World Series based on Colton Wong. Slow your roll, buddy.
Yeah, agreed. And I don't view Milwaukee as some destination free agents want to go to. They've gotten guys like Lorenzo Cain, Moustakas. They've paid those guys also.
Yeah. Agreed. And I think it was nice that Yelich chose to stay, but they had to trade for him.
I mean, yeah, that's not I'm not saying that. Cleveland's in the same way. Cleveland's not players won't not stay in Cleveland, but you got to pay them, and it's not a landing spot that they're a desirable landing spot, if you will.
Look, I'm 40 years old. I lived in Minneapolis for 10 years, and other than that, I've spent 30 years of my life in Wisconsin. I've been to Milwaukee a bunch of times. I visited you in Cleveland. You live there. They're not Miami. I completely understand that. Or Los Angeles, for example, as far as the weather and stuff like that. You're not going to just be the hot spot. But if you can pay people, you can get people.
Yeah, exactly. And some people in general, sports, athletes, some people like being bigger fish in the small pond. So not everyone wants to be in New York and Miami. Most people do though.
All right. Anybody on the Mariners? Particularly your second.
like the loss of Kyle Lewis is like really hurting this lineup from like a
And
DFS perspective in my mind.
well, I was going to say the loss of Griffey and A-Rod, but we're going back a while now. This is just not a very good offense. I like Haniger. I think he'll continue to get better. Seager's not awful. It's just not a very strong lineup. It's hard to get really excited about it.
For sure. Now, like Flexen's not very good though.
It's not. And on any given day, they are professional hitters.
Yes.
Kind of. Haniger leading off 3,100. Okay. Trammell in the middle of the lineup, 2,200. Like, all right. Like, I can understand using any of these guys, but nothing about that's going to get me excited.
I got no arguments with that.
So, all right, guys, quick recap. Chalk pitchers in order: Corbin Burns, insane chalk. And then people are kind of deciding between Musgrove and Walker Buehler. And it sounds like we agree on this one. Like our GPP guy, lower owned, is going to be Lance Lynn.
Yeah, I'm definitely, right now, if I'm making one lineup, it's going to be Burns and Lynn.
I'm with you on that one. Again, I understand riding the chalk and cash games and going with a Musgrove or a Buehler, but Lance Lynn's our lower owned GPP guy.
Especially because I don't think that, like last night, I definitely wanted like a full Dodger stack. I don't like need that here. I'm not saying that I don't want some Dodgers. I'm not sure I need like the full stack.
Yeah. It's kind of the same thing as yesterday with me. I don't love the Dodgers. I don't think they're necessarily going to get the John Gray. John Gray could be two different guys. We've seen John Gray look like a Cy Young Award winner for like starts in a row, and then be the gas can for starts in a row. I don't know which John Gray's showing up tonight.
Same.
So with you on that one. Not a lot of interest in offense from the first game. Although I will say this, guys, as far as Milwaukee goes, it is actually warm out today. One of the reasons I tried to hurry you along this morning, we're going to get like 65-degree weather. The ball pops a little bit more when it's warmer out, even though it's probably still going to have the closed roof tonight. It still pops more, and it's a good offensive park.
No doubt.
You sound like you're a little more interested in San Diego than I am, but I absolutely understand it, especially like their catcher. Tommy Pham will probably be chalking cash games again. And then the White Sox I can get on board with as well.
Yeah, and then a little bit of San Francisco sprinkled in there.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Again, their older players have started the year hot. I never mind that. And you throw in like a cheaper Brandon Belt, Tommy La Stella leading off. They got some value plays in there that you mix in with a more expensive San Diego or LA.
For sure, no doubt.
All right, guys, that's what we got for today. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button. Weekly memberships are available through the website. Go get on that Drafters NFL draft, $5.55, monster overlay. We will see you guys tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.